Okay, lower bracket is the name of the game. NiP versus LFO. NiP, yeah, well, you would have expected that they do lead the series 1-0, not without a hard-fought victory on Inferno, though. Now they find themselves on their playing field, Nick. It's Mirage and LFO are fighting for their lives.
And to put it in some perspective, and let me hold my thought for a second. An A player is coming in right side smokes and plays streaming out the ramp. S8 has blocked the jungle smokes. That means there is going to be a bit of a gap in it, but they're jumping through it. It doesn't matter if there's a gap, Matt, because they're jumping through it. It's a chaos.
Look at Smet's position. He's actually the only way that LFO can still win this round right now in towards Palace with his Julies. AV desperately fighting. There we go. Smet's able to activate. Doesn't deny the bomb plant. My god. NiP have just steamrolled their way through this round. AV down to a single point of health. And Config will finish off the job. He was the player who started the round and he ends it as well.
Okay, so if I'm LFO, I'm panic stationed because, right, hear me out. Last 16 games played on Mirage from NiP. Won 13, lost 3. And their pistol round percentage is less than 40%. That is NiP, that is. So majority of the times we see these close games, it's because they've lost the pistols. They've only won 12 out of their last 32 on this map. And they have a near 60% win rate on CT side and a 53% win rate on T side. So if you're LFO, you want as big a buffer on CT side as possible because you know CT side for NiP is stronger, but you don't want to be giving up these pistols. So if I'm LFO, this is starting to look a bit weird. They fully eco into the second, super solid from NiP. They're already all the way up catwalk. They're walking into a vacant B bomb site. I'm going to say it now. Call me a liar. 2-0 on the score for NiP.
Okay, well, you did, to be fair to Nick, guys, he did also say that at the start of Inferno, so it's not like he's just hanging his hat on that rack after the victory on Inferno. I'll give you credit for that, mate. But yeah, I agree. I mean, all the statistics point in that direction. NiP need the 2-0 as well, man. Just for their confidence, just to save face. They're the highest rated team coming into this closed qualifier. Big behind them, but... You know, it would kind of be a breath of fresh air for NiP if they could qualify for ESL Challenger Katowice, right? Because at least that would give them something to get excited about, some sort of positivity. I mean, you would swear they bombed out in the RMR with the way that a lot of people are talking about NiP. I think it's just because they got to the 2-2 stage of the Swiss stage, and then they lost out to Apex after leading both of their leading both of the maps. They ended up losing 2-0 still. You know, they beat Ents, so you would have thought, okay, they're beating Ents, then they're going to get through to the playoffs. But I kind of feels like it's a pretty harsh knee-jerk reaction as to how people are judging NiP.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you for sure. Like, people are judging NiP as if they're not a good team anymore, to put it frankly, right? Oh, they lose to Apex, they lose to the big underdogs, and because of that, they're a bad team. Where obviously that's obviously not the case, right? We're dealing with a team that's ranked 10th in the world in HLTV. And I'm going to give everyone a secret. You don't get 10th by fluke. You don't get 10th by luck. No. You get 10th by playing good, solid Counter-Strike. And I think that's what Alexi B's trying to drill into this team. Even though they haven't had hampers for near on, I think, 3-4 months they've been playing with Config, I want to say. So they've had a good amount of time to settle in. I'm pretty sure everyone would have expected them to make it to the latter stages of the major. But, I mean, everyone would have expected that with G2, right? With FaZe, right? And FaZe got knocked out with in the quarterfinals, obviously, so it's a pretty big difference in general. But this NiP team is no slouch, and I still think they're one of the favorites to qualify for the main event, even though they would have lost against Domination. They're just trying to do the casual low bracket run and see how things go.
I mean, what is crazy is if Big win their game, which is looking increasingly likely as they lead the series 1-0 against Movistar, right, as an NiP win here, you would almost go so far as to say whoever wins that second round lower bracket matchup should be the team to go on to qualify.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think if these two teams were to come up against one another, the reason why I say that is the winner of this plays against the loser of Ho2 and Ecstatic.
Oh, really?
Then,
okay.
Yeah, and then the next game after that. But it's still going to happen, right? If Big are the favorites and they win all the games, they're still going to come up against one another in the low bracket anyway. So it's just a game away.
Okay, you're
it's a
right.
game further away anyway. So it's still an interesting one to keep in mind for sure. But back into this round, Config spotted this guy towards post ramp, but now NiP can converge in his position pretty well. And the fact that Smet's got 2 is pretty bad from NiP to say the least. But they've got
Yeah.
the control towards mid, but no one's looking towards Cat. So
Oh,
Hedrick's tapped the
no.
bomb. Now things gone pear-shaped. There's 4 seconds left on the clock. He's been peeked out. And just as we were singing the praises of NiP is so good at this, NiP is so good at that, they're going to make it to the main event, this, that, and the next thing, all of a sudden, things go pear-shaped. They forget about the time on the clock. They don't trade the guy towards ramp. And looking for get the first round on the board.
I mean, that round unraveled so damn quickly for NiP as well, because as you say, Config spotted Smet towards ramp, and that would have put Smet in a very awkward position. Players converging on his position from both the bomb site and from T ramp. And he was actually able to play that situation really well, finds the first frag on Config, pivots 180 degrees, wins the second fight, and he gets out alive. And at that point, NiP, they're just chasing the round, they're just scurrying all over, it's pure chaos.
Ooh, I like this play though. They throw the split smoke towards the catwalk position to put pressure for a ladder room cross. However, because Chiron got boosted into that position, he can nullify that whole threat just from the start of the round, the first couple seconds. So already LFO got to think, okay, they threw nades for a fast B split, but that hasn't happened. Config could catch Chiron looking the wrong way, and this could be the next step towards this A split occurring. He's seen the shoulder, and he wins the kill. So now this A split becomes even harder for LFO to defend against. Yes, they have Smet towards default, and they have Lightning towards CT, but they've walked through this ramp smoke. Smet's dead. Lightning's dead. Brolin is looking crisp. Ooh, oh, if only you got the third.
Right.
But I mean, NiP, fantastic stuff from them.
That was such a nice little crosshair placement there from Broland coming out of Palace. Fully prepared for the player to be tucked in towards default. Clears the angle, gets the kill. Near flawless round here out of NiP. Great response after they lose the previous round as well. Config will finish off the job. And everything works out exactly according to plan there for the Ninjas. 3-1. And if you're LFO, you're going to have to eco here, I'm afraid. You can go for a half buy. Sure, you'll get a few upgraded pistols, you'll get Kevlar, but you can't afford to go all in and spend all your money here.
Yeah, especially with only 2.4k loss bonus. I mean, Fade 8 is only going to look at around, what, $4,000 next round already? 3.9k. Obviously, if he gets a couple kills, it's a bit different. So even next round's buy is a bit tough. Maybe a lucky kill through smoke or something, or maybe NiP just don't have their protocols in check for this round. It could go a bit pear-shaped for them, but that doesn't look like it's going to be the case this round. And you know you're playing really good Counter-Strike if you nip and you're shooting people in the back and the sides of the head, which is exactly what happened last round, right? You know you're playing really good Counter-Strike, you're pushing and pulling the map, you're putting pressure where you want pressure to be placed, and you have players like Config and Rez, and we can talk about the NiP players all day long about how well they understand the game. And when you in a system like Alexi B's where people talk about that there's not enough freedom because he's so micromanagey, I do think that for some of these players it's so good, the fact that he can put them where he wants, he can tell them where they want to aim. Oh my goodness, he sniffed them out there. He was smelling this there in the corner.
Yeah, you could see he was hunting for it. He even had like a bit of a lineup there, as you could see him just looking at the floor, and then he just lines his crosshair up. One taps in towards the vent, and then sprays on top of the cinder blocks. Good opening kill found.
It's just so good from NiP. The fact that these rounds are so slow and they're so well thought out. It was different to how we saw in Inferno, right? Inferno, we saw these slow rounds progressing, but then all of a sudden, the last 30-20 seconds was mayhem. Where these are completely the opposite, right? It seems like every second is so well thought out and executed to perfection.
It feels like there's constantly things happening on this T side as well, whereas Inferno, they would get control, and then they would just sit for like 40 seconds and do nothing, and then they would try and execute with 20 or 30 seconds left on the clock, whereas they're being way more proactive here on their T side. You can immediately see how much more comfortable they are on Mirage, and you mentioned it at the beginning of the map. You put it in perspective. LFO, I mean, you'd have to say they need to win this half at the bare minimum, considering what a titanic or a monolithic CT side NiP have here on Mirage.
No, I agree, and I mean, I hate to point out the statistics again, but the fact that NiP win 80% of their rounds in total on this map, when they get less than 40% of the pistols, just proves that those statistics just go towards the gun rounds and the force bars, right? The fact that they are so good at converting all these gun rounds, when you can pretty much play as NiP, if you lose both pistols, it really doesn't matter because your level is that high on this map, that LFO, they really got to start stringing rounds together, unless it's genuinely going to be panic stations. Last map, we saw Chiron firing on all cylinders. We saw Lightning starting to hit some really nice shots. And now we need this exact same with them. And unfortunately, there can't be a lag time. We can't be waiting until 1-6 or 1-8 on the scoreboard. It has to be now.
Yeah, exactly.
For them to start stringing those rounds together.
Tyron has gotten aggressive. He's found the opening pick. Lightning tries to add another to the tally. Doesn't actually expect Alexi B to have been as wide as he was after he peeks out. So Alexi B will find that kill in exchange. Brings it straight back into an even numbers game. A bit rough for Chiron after he goes on that mission to find the frag. All the hard work negated. So he's going to try and make some sort of play here as that smoke starts to fade in towards middle right now. Config might be the prey.
Oh, and he can hear that rotate. Or he would have heard the rotate outside of the murder hole, so maybe he has a decent inkling that no one's towards this deep jungle position at least. But it does look like an A split's going to be on the cards. 3 players collected towards Con. If they have a smoke towards deep jungle, that could be really well. But they're just going to contact it the whole way. And what I was talking about, where everything seems so well thought out, they've gone with this whole contact idea, and Smet's going to be none the wiser. He's going to swing around triple. There's going to be players training in his position, and he's going to have no chance. Chiron, the next up to bat, he's full blind. Ooh, head trick. Oh my gosh, Chiron gets that. Alexi B and Brolan left in the 2v3. Chiron's got 3 kills in this round. Can't make it a 4th, but there is another player coming from CT. That is AV with the AWP, but he's missed a shot, and that might have been Aleppo's chance of winning this round.
Yeah, he would have dropped the bomb carrier. Brolan will now activate the C4 himself and Alexi B, captain and star in tandem. Spade8 and AV, they both only have 1 kill so far here on the map. They're going to have to find 2 kills between them here to win the round. There's a kit between them as well, just one. Spade8 seems as though he has the information. Alexi B's in towards jungle. Oh no, Alexi B cuts down AV and he finishes off the job as well. Great kills coming through from him. I mean, he's getting the job done by himself. He's calling a great T side and he's fragging out right now.
It's just lovely, absolutely lovely stuff coming out from NiP. Yes, they lose that opening kill, and maybe that's down. You can argue that it's Chiron's well doing, or maybe Rez should be killing him. Neither here nor there. But the fact that Alexi B takes initiative back towards B apps, gets the kill back, plays the 4v4. The mid round is superb. There's 3 guys shift walking all the way up towards triple, with 2 guys rather shifting all the way up towards triple with 1 guy overwatching from stairs. If that guy CT peaks, he's dead, which is exactly what happened. And imagine if Chiron wasn't there, the round would have been even more in NiP's favor. And again, we are just seeing the fantastic way that NiP are approaching this map, and they're playing each of these rounds to perfection. There's not any glaring errors. Looking for all can try things like this, but the head trick is right there for a 2-piece, and it's just so solid coming out from NiP, and it's really tough to see how LFO can. I mean, we spoke about them having to win this half, right? They're down 6-1, and it's really tough to see them winning a couple rounds, let alone another 8, you know?
Absolutely. There's no way they're going to win 8 in a row from here, that's for sure. But I mean, what would you say the rock bottom bare minimum is the bedrock here for LFO? Surely there's no chance with anything less than 6, right? If not 7. And even then, that's a big stretch. Head trick does spot 1 on the cross. There's an open play here for Lightning.
He just jumped Tetris and got 2 kills. What?
Okay. Well, there we go. I like that. Getting in their faces, not offering them respect, not cowering in the bomb sites, getting more proactive on the defense. Brolan will force the issue off the back of that, and at least he gets a kill back and gets out of dodge, so it certainly does keep things interesting. And Alexi B towards Catwalk. Not going to go unaccounted for. AV in position. I thought for a second he might be watching in apartments. Wouldn't make sense with Lightning there, though. So he does redirect his focus towards Cat. Just in time. 4v2. This is the best position LFO have been in a hot minute.
Yeah, I agree. In the 2v4 situation, becomes really tough. Look at S8's position towards Palace. They've got a couple players towards middle, making sure there's no splits coming in. The only worry is for LFO is a ramp contact on a timing, but I have no doubt that Smet will go between connector, between ramp, between connector, between ramp, and as soon as contact on one of these players is found, it all of a sudden becomes super tough. So unless I were to say that if Brolan were to win this aim duel towards deep jungle early, which he actually might with his position now, Smet's off angle is so strong. So unless there's a timing that Brolan catches, which he doesn't, it's become so hard for Config. There's no way he's going to expect this guy in Palace. Even if he tries to plant the bomb, becomes super, super, super tough. And it looks like LFO have doubled their round score.
Yeah, Config wants to try and find at least a fight before he commits to the bomb plant, but as soon as he commits to the plant, oh, and now he's been spotted as well. The player from Palace is just going to finish off the job. Spade8, there we go. Will activate in time to keep his teammate alive. 6-2 needs to be a lot more where that came from, but I do like to see them playing with more confidence, you know, just peeking from triple, getting from stairs, getting 2 kills to start off the round. They kind of sent NiP into very awkward territory where they had to start taking fights they wouldn't have wanted to try and get back into the round.
And now
For more than enough cash to buy up here and in the next round, even if they lose again.
Yeah, and now it just comes down to how can NiP recover, right? Yes, you've lost a round to looking for Org, but it's not panic stations by any stretch. We're still in the early breath of the game, and I was speaking about these changes of pace they wanted to see on Inferno, and we're 9 rounds in and we're already seeing the first one here. A couple kills not going the way of NiP, even though Broland did get the opening, but they do have the route in towards the A-bomb side. Alexi B, he just needs a flash towards Connector, and I have no doubt a couple of these players are going to be falling unless he waits for that smoke to bloom and makes the timing. He gets the kill, none the wiser is Lightning. No. Chiron dies in the meantime. He hears the money hitting him.
Collides.
Oh, but he's AW? Oh!
Oh, Rez will even keep Headtrick alive.
Oh my god, imagine a triple guy coming like that, dude.
Yeah, that was all over the show. I mean, Headtrick thinks he's a dead man, but Rez says, don't worry, brother, I have got you. Keeps him alive. NiP straight back to winning ways. Cool, calm, and collected, man. Even when they're down by a player in the round, it's still so composed. Everybody knows what the game plan is. That's the beauty of having a map like, you know, that you're so comfortable on as a team. You just never really feel like you don't have an answer to any situation you end up in. Oh, and there's got a number of repetitions on the map here as well. Oh, Lightning tries to go back for it. Config out in the open. Raw dogs him. Spade 8. At least trades.
Now the map is pretty much completely quiet. NiP spotted, Broland rather, spotted towards the ramp. You could see his little toesies sticking out from there. But it looks like Headtrick is going to throw a smoke towards deep jungle, or top con rather. Threaten some sort of B split. Maybe it allows Rez to get into a better position. But again, I think what NiP are so good at is maneuvering off this pressure that they place towards the side of the map. So now they've got connect control. Alexi B is putting pressure towards that B side, and at this timing, Rez has walked through that stairs smoke, right? And Smet is not even looking at him, gets that kill. Spade 8 is now in transition towards CT, but at that same timing, you've still got Alexi B towards Apps. So it doesn't even matter if Spade 8 gets this kill, because Alexi B is just going to shoot them in the back of the head, and that's exactly what's happened towards Chiron, towards Cat. Even though he hasn't fallen, it's a 3v3, but the positions that NiP are in are far superior than that of looking for Orcs. Even if they try go for this, I think it's going to be a really, really, really tough retake to get through, especially considering the HP of Chiron, and I think LFO even know this, and that's why they're looking to save the rifles. But I really like the pressure that NiP caused that map. Pressure towards B, pressure towards mid at a similar time. Config walks to that top connector smoke at a similar timing, and the guy towards A is none the wiser. And I mentioned earlier, you know you're playing really good CS when you're shooting people in the back and the side of the head, and that's exactly what NiP did this round.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more, man. They've got such a good grip on the T side here of Mirage right now. Just seamlessly transitioning across the map, making it so difficult for the CT side. Numbers stacked up on the wrong side of the map as the final push comes through towards A. They have no option but to save. At least they'll be able to drop guns across here to the players who have gone down in the rounds. They'll still have a full buy, but they've already lost the half at the bare minimum, and we've only played 10 rounds here on Mirage so far. So that is a pretty concerning fact here for LFO. We saw them struggle heavily on their, their T side of Mirage against Godsent. They only managed 5 rounds in the half. When you couple that with the fact that NiP have such a good CT side, just all the stats, all the numbers just rack up so heavily against LFO.
I do like the approach that LFO have this round, the fact that Chiron's dropped towards lowers, but I say it's such a good idea, and it's such a nice way, and then Config just deletes his head. We saw him taking that aim ball towards window last round, and he's done it this round, but just with the window smoke instead. So Alexi B and Rez are grouping towards the bottom under window. Maybe it's an idea of a boost, and Alexi B has been a player who's almost created this meta towards Con, right? If anyone remembers the Con smoke that landed halfway through that allowed a one-way towards triple, that was Alexi B's making, right? Any of these ways in which he plays towards this area, both from a CT and T perspective, has been some of his own doing. So he's well at home on this map, and looks like NiP are looking at a 1-4 split towards his A site. AW does that really cheeky little silent drop towards window. Don't know how well it's going to sort him out, even though he threw a molly anyway, so... All that Broline has to do is collect the bomb, and then we're going to see whether it's going to be brown on blue or blue on brown to determine who wins the round.
You go brown, I go orange.
You think it's orange? I think it's brown. Yeah.
I don't know. It's definitely somewhere in between. Either way, it is orange or brown in the kill feed as config will take down Spade 8.
It's definitely
and that
blue,
makes
right?
life so difficult for LFO. Yeah, but we can agree on blue. That's for sure. That one I'm comfortable with, no doubt in my mind.
Man, it's like
You
a
look
gold.
at this from config, man. He's 10 and 5. Yes. Okay,
Oh.
we can settle on gold. There we go. You figured it out. Either way, LFO, they're really struggling to figure out the CT side right now. And we've seen so much variation to this T side from NiP as well, right? So many different starts to the rounds. More often than not, just variations of the default. But there's just no way that LFO can get a read on the situation and try and adjust themselves.
Yeah, I agree with you for sure. And NiP are playing this mid position pretty much to perfection rather. They're getting players out there early, and then they're tucking in areas where you struggle to molly them out. If you do molly them out in the open, where you're mollying them from, where you get towards that Delpan and that second Delpan area, behind boxes they can drop a smoke there. They become really stubborn towards giving up that area. So I think what looking for Org need to think about doing in these next coming rounds is negate middle and try find a pick on the extremities, you know, like a fast, maybe even a double rifle boost towards B-Apps might be good. I really like the idea of Chiron playing towards lowers, but again, he needs to stick around there a bit more. Maybe you want to play two guys towards lowers, one guy holding either end, maybe a guy holding a flash for above window. You can peek middle on a timing, try catch config in the open, or a double ramp push, double palace push, or maybe even double ramp, double palace at the same time. I think that's also a fantastic idea. Some way to force NiP's hand, because unfortunately NiP are playing their game and they're comfortable and they like the way they're pushing and pulling the map, and it's up to LFO as to how they're going to make them feel a little bit more uncomfortable towards this middle position.
I couldn't agree with you more, man. One thing saying that though, it's another thing trying to actually find a solution, and you can see that they are right now, right? There's aggression, there's almost a triple peak coming through there from 3 players, but classic Alexi B, he's one step ahead of his opponents. He's changed up the game, he's changed up the approach. It's just the stock standard exec in towards the A bomb site, top con smoke to come through, Util follows in afterwards. Chiron is towards stairs right now, he's hearing the footsteps, but he's been spotted out and taken down. Man, this is the round that makes you feel so good as an IGL, because there's just no resistance on that A bomb site. You're hearing them in towards middle, and you know that you've just stayed ahead of the curve. AV though will bury 2 players. Spade 8's got the favorable angle there on an XCP as well. And maybe a quick switch up. The problem is they don't have a kit. There is one on the site though, so time not the problem. Finding the kills is. Bomb planted on triple right now, so I believe it's favorably planted for both Config and Brolan. Smoke on the C4 will make life a little bit awkward here for them. AB is going to stick to defuse. Sprays down does Config. It's the meat shield strategy, but he doesn't care as he just rips them both down.
I mean, I've used the word superb so often, but with these rounds that we're seeing from NiP, they genuinely are. Like, when you talk about textbook, solid Counter-Strike, dotting your I's, crossing your T's, making sure you're going with these rounds with everything seems to be well thought out. Like, that's exactly what NiP is this round, right? They've conditioned them towards middle. I was talking about the way LFO need to either look for a pick towards the extremities or go for something delayed towards middle to try get that info, right? And what happens is NiP, as you said, Alexi B is already a 1 step ahead. LFO tried to like throw caution to the wind and aggressive mid play, and all of a sudden they're out in the air bomb side. But they do have something going for them. An early palace pick rather means that they're in a 4v5, and there are a couple players set up towards this B bomb side, so maybe NiP are going to look to press the issue for this B contact. However, the safe jump spot from AV is coming in, so pretty much any sort of more contact coming out from NiP is going to be really tough for them to yield any success. But I like the round start from LFO. They've taken the fight to NiP towards the extremities, as I've said. They've won that gunfight, and now it comes down to how do they play the mid round. Do you want to play 3-2? Do you want to look for delayed mid aggression? Something along those lines could fare you well.
I don't think you want to make any more plays here, though, to be honest. You know, in the 5v4, the advantages have been hard to come by for them. You want to lock it in. You don't want to give further fights up. We've seen how good Config has been at punishing any extra aggression thrown at him. So I think at this point, if you're LFO, you lock in your profits and you wait for more information to come through before you start to react. So they will just pause across the map right now, holding their angles, maintaining their positions. NiP have options available. They've got control of middle right now, but they don't really have any split, so to speak of.
This is perfect for
It's going to be a pretty directional approach.
But the main thing is, yes, there are 4 players towards middle, but they have this other prong, which is so important when they're taking towards these fights. They're contacting up catwalk, and this is a complete oversight from LFO. Yes, you've negated the B site, but just because you pushed apps doesn't mean they have a timing to go on cat. And I mean, Config's just caught someone off guard, and our NiP know they haven't come through apps, so the flank, in inverted commas, from S8 is going to have no success. Config spotted out AV towards markets. Now all of a sudden 3 players stuck on the bomb site. Yes, it's a 4-man retake, but the plot of Mirage is notoriously tough for retaking.
This player coming through apartments is going to be such a big part of it if there's going to be any chance. Config flashed in towards into market. Will get a kill. Config's found another head trick. Will hit the second shot there onto Spade 8, and Smet has no chance, so he will just fade into oblivion. Config has done it again. How many rounds has he single-handedly rescued here for NiP? He's 15-5 right now. We saw Broland doing the job on Inferno. Here, it's Config in the spotlight. Very rough for LFO, considering they found that opening pick, but as you say, an oversight, man. They were almost certain there was going to be some sort of a push in towards A coming through, but there was one chink in the armor, there was one gap, and NiP exploited it.
Yeah, I think LFO they got a bit too excited. Maybe it was bad communication, maybe someone heard a step when they didn't, or they had numbers where they didn't. But essentially, what NiP do so well is they're cutting the noise at such pivotal points of the round. They're not giving free information, because if you're just having these players run up catwalk or run con or make audio cues jumping into window, that's information that LFO can play off of, especially when they know that there's only 4 players alive. But NiP playing the round completely dead silent mean that LFO get pushed into this idea of maybe they're going towards A. They over-rotate 2 people towards markets. Meanwhile, these guys are creeping up cat. They know someone's flanking towards apps. And then all of a sudden, it just goes NiP's way. And again, NiP are just playing their game. They're playing super well. Rez does the famous barrel molly towards Van that everyone loves, making sure he can peek there. But Kyron's going to peek because he throws a bad molly. Rez, make sure he can get away with his life.
Yeah, he's quite lucky to be alive right now, actually. The head of Kyron was on his screen for a good second or 2 before Kyron started to shoot. Rez just didn't react. Another decent position here as the round reaches the minute mark for LFO. They've been able to keep NiP at bay, but as we start reaching the late stages of the round, that's where things start to fall apart for LFO. Broland peeks out of Palace, initially doesn't get the kill, but he goes back for seconds and he finishes off the job. This is where Smet needs to stand. Config late in towards the top middle. Won't actually hit the clean shots on Kyron. Spots the 1 player dropping, then sees Kyron. He was in a position to single-handedly win the round once again, but he couldn't get it done. It's going to have to be head trick. Does land the tag, but not the frag. 11-3. LFO have won another round. So far, all 3 of their round wins have come in isolation, though, Nick. They haven't built up any momentum or head steam here on Mirage.
Yeah, and I think that's the super tough part, the fact that they aren't able to string 2, 3, 4 rounds together, right? Obviously, they've only got 3, and all of a sudden you win a round. Your money's fine for the last round, but imagine this was a round before, all of a sudden you lose. Things aren't looking too great, but I think it's really good from Kyron. Really stepped up the round. The fact that his first couple shots went awry towards Rez, that should have been a kill in the bag. He was able to make sure you can assure things are 3 kills in that round, and an aggression towards middle. Kyron's head's been spotted. And I like it, but I don't like it because it's expected. You know, this mid aggression is expected. NiP are playing this area super slow, methodical anyway. Even if they're getting aggro towards top of mid, you can't really aggress on them that early in the round anyway. So NiP, they're just 5 steps ahead of LFO right now. To be 100% frank, they know what's going, they know what to expect, they know how to play against these sort of things. And now all of a sudden, Rez is in a CT position. He's flanking market. I think AV has an idea that this might be a chance. He does. Okay, so he gets that kill. Smoke fading. They found Smet. Now they know A's clear because this last guy was towards market. They have 1 guy posted up towards cat. That's head trick. Does he get the kill on AV? I don't think he does because he's low.
Yeah.
Round might be 1 from AV. I'm not gonna say it's cut and dry.
Needed that shot. Bomb is still okay. It's actually been collected. I mean, I will say NiP are just checking all the boxes right now. They're covering all their bases, mate. They're making sure that however they approach the round, they're not leaving themselves vulnerable to some sort of aggression or a push from somewhere. Config finishes off the job. 12-3 should be a formality when we return from the break. 12-3. I don't think there's a law about this scoreline, Nick. This should be completely unrecoverable any which way you look at it for LFO. They're going to go for the brute force approach, mate. Let's see what they have in store for us. There's a smoke, there's 2 flashes, and they're going all in towards this B bomb site. They found the opening kill on Rez as well. That means it's all on Alexi B right now. He's got support coming through from Hedrick, who's actually been smoked out of position, so he'll have to pivot back in through the market door. Aleppo have taken a bit longer than what I would have liked to see from them to get into the bomb site, though, and that means rotations have come through thick and fast, and evidently, they'll only get 1 extra kill. But Nick, why did they take so long after they found the opening kill?
Oh, dude, I think maybe they were second guessing themselves. Maybe they should have waited. Maybe they should have. I think the only thing that I can put it down to is maybe communication. Maybe they thought, okay, it's so obvious we're going to be now, guys. Let's go towards A. But obviously, when that smoke comes in, it's 18 seconds, and if you go fast enough, people are going to be stuck behind that smoke. But I mean, NiP are the victors because of LFO taking so long, and the rotates were so fast. Config was tapping heads, and you're talking about the fact that there's no jinx on the 12-3 scoreline, and I think this is proving it again. I mean, Alexi B's played the whole half and started this round without a gun. You know, he's playing this whole game without a gun. He's just fragging. Obviously, he's playing with a gun, but oh my gosh, these guys definitely playing. Oh my.
Oh, well, maybe he does need one because, well, he's just been absolutely destroyed. Okay, Alifo, I see you. NiP don't because you've torn their heads off. 5v2 off the bat, job done. No way to recover this one if you're NiP. Calling it now, Nick. It's over. Wrap it up. Tie a bow on it. Yeah, this one's done. Let's just GG go next round. You're not as confident?
Yeah, no, that's fair. I think that's fine.
Let's call a spade, mate.
Yeah, I'm trying to look at the dude. Like, imagine like Rez gets like a kill on the Apps guy, and then they wall bang the other guy, and then it's a 2v2, and they ninja defuse the bomb. But yeah,
you're huffing the copium, brother.
Yeah, it's nice, dude. It's nice. I mean, they are going to get this kill towards this Apps guy. I think Lightning. I think he is going to die towards Apps. They're just holding for these exits. So there we go. But pretty much just. Ooh,
no wait. The problem is Smet's on A. Spade 8 is like deep on Cat right now. The bomb isn't planted for him. There is a kit on Brolan. There's a smoke on the C4. Okay, not like this. LF. Oh no!
I told you.
Oh no! And they get the smoke from the player they kill in apartments, by the way. They didn't actually have a smoke in the initial retake. That's a 5v2. That's the end of the world for LFO, literally and figuratively. Yeah. Flip that round. Tag me on Twitter. Call me a moron. I deserve it.
Oh my goodness. And those rounds are so tough mentally to recover from, especially when you're down this sort of scoreline. Like, you thought, okay, cool, guys. We lost the pistol, but we're going to win the... Oh my gosh, Chiron. He doesn't care about last round. He's out. Broland's got nades out as well, so all of a sudden that round went so pear-shaped, but I'm fairly confident in this one.
Well, guess what? It's a 5v2, Nick. You know what's going down now. NiP are going to win it, obviously. This is how these things go, apparently.
Look, NiP can't win by ninja defuse if LFO just kill them all, right? So, what I'm saying is just go headhunt them.
I mean, the clue's in the name. They are called the ninjas in pajamas, guys. We should have expected that.
I mean, now that you mention it, why are we so fast to have such a big oversight?
Yeah.
Yeah, rookie stuff. But as I said, you can't ninja defuse a few all day.
There's no bomb plant. There we go. 14-4. I mean, these past 2 rounds have been remarkably impressive from LFO. If I'm going to keep it real 100, for real, as the kids are saying these days. No cap.
And if you're NiP, I love the idea of a half bar twice. You have one guy saving for the AWP or saving a little bit more money. They don't do it this round, so they're going to go with 5 rifles in 2 rounds time. But you half bar this round. Config's bought really low, but you keep about $500, $600, $700 in the bank. You buy 1 deagle. Next round, you buy the same thing. And then the round after that, you then have the full investment. But this round, they're going to have no luck at all. LFO are just throwing essentially their ways to the wind and winning the gunfights, and this is exactly what we kind of need to see from LFO, right? They got to back themselves in the aim. We spoke about the rounds they won on CT side, was sort of taking this aggression towards stairs and getting those 2 opening kills and stuff like this. And if they can bring that on the T side, where maybe they go for a bit more of a pack mentality, 4 or 5 guys in one area of the map, try not to overthink things, just try trade out, that might be LFO's route back into this map. But I don't think it's going to be too much to worry about. If you decide of NiP, you pretty much got to cover all your bases. You've got arguably, you have better aimers than LFO, right? I'm not going to say arguably.
Not even arguably, yeah.
Yeah, you've got Config and Headtrick on your team, and Rez when he's on form is one of the best rifles in the world. I'd go as far as saying it, but that's only comes when he's feeling it. If he's not feeling it, it's a bit tough. But for the most part, NiP, yes, they got 14. Yes, LFO got 5. They're going to eco again in this one. They unfortunately don't have the AK, but next round is going to be a bit of a serious one.
At this point, it's not even a question about NiP winning the map. It's about just doing it sooner rather than later. But what I will say is the scoreline was 14-3, Nick.
You make a good point, eh?
We've seen NiP in these positions before, and not too long ago either.
Maybe it's a good old G2 choke, you know? GO2.
Sure,
NiP are going to make the 14-3 their own. Ooh,
yeah.
Okay.
One more config? Oh, we had the shot. Doesn't connect. 14-6. Now the gun round comes through. I mean, you really only start to have a few question marks if LFO get to double digits before NiP win another round, right?
Yeah, for sure. I couldn't agree with you more. I think if NiP win this round, all of a sudden it's back to square one for LFO. Even though you've got the money in the bank, it's still kind of back to square one. But however, if they win the next couple gun rounds, because it'll be this one, then it's another ecos, you look at 8 on the board, and then there's another gun round, so that 8-1 could make it a 9, sort of 10 scoreline. So it's not all doom and gloom for LFO just yet, but getting this gun round is a big hurdle. But it does look like they're going to aggress towards one of the extremities earlier, rather than doing the slow, sort of methodical mid-default that NiP approached the map with. They are going to look at just going straight towards one of the extremities early with a lurker towards A. Alexi B's kind of screwed himself with the smoke that he's throwing. He's playing on the balcony though, but if you're LFO, you kind of think, how are we going to execute with the smoke that's there? If the smoke's a bit deeper, you can maybe make a play through it or get the timing through it on its fade, but when the smoke is that deep, it becomes a little bit funny, so it might have worked out in Alexi B's favor.
And they probably think it's some sort of a crafty one way, like, guys, they've thrown this really weird smoke in apartments right now. You know, we can't go there anymore. They know they've got us. They figured us out. So they're going to turn it into a bit of a fake as far as I can tell. Boost up in towards snipers coming through. Bomb's going to go back through T-spawn. Smet's here by himself right now. Going to look to try and continue to sell the fake. Config on top of the cinder block. Spots out the head. Tries to pivot from the flash. Oh my goodness. Kind of feels like both himself and AB are lucky to be alive right now. It is a bit of a bait on the rotation because Config makes all the audio cues while Rez gets left there on catwalk. So there's a chance that Rez goes unaccounted for. Bomb now starts to come up from ramp. Chiron flashing so his teammates can get out of ramp. But look at Headtrick, Nick. He's tucked in towards the firebox right now. Activates at the perfect moment. Double kill coming through from him. Drops the bomb in the meantime. Add another to the tally. And just by the nature of the time left on the clock, this should be completely unsalvageable for the side.
Oh my goodness. Head trick, more like headshot, baby. Ace coming out from him, and he's able to upgrade to the AWP. Superb stuff, hiding towards that emo corner, gets unaccounted for, peeks out 1-2, buckle my shoe, 3-4, get out the door. Great stuff from Headtrick this round. 15-6, now I was saying, LFO, you're looking pretty chuffed with yourself if you win that gun round, but the way they maneuvered the map I thought was really good. However, the position that Chiron got towards jungle, we spoke about against Godsend, he was able to get in those spots, but not really able to do the best work with them. And again, it happened that round. He was in such a power spot, but nothing came from it, and NiP was able to recover the round with great work from them.
I feel like you can also put that down to the fact that he's the stand-in, so it's not like they have phenomenal communication and everybody knows exactly how to react to those situations. They kind of have to, you know, unfold it in the moment. There is going to be a kill from Rez, but he gets traded out by Chiron, leaping out of Palace. That's his second in the round. Remember, at this point, LFO, they're just fighting to stay alive. They're fighting to deny the 16-6 scoreline, and it's looking like they'll be able to do that. They have got the man advantage. The bomb now starts to make its way across. Fade 8 forces the issue, and Alexi B doesn't expect that fight to get offered up to him. And that is going to be surely another round here for LFO, as they, well, almost delay the inevitable, if you will.
Yeah, it definitely seems to be that case. Chiron stepping up massively this round, as well as Fade 8. Great stuff from them. Config is just scratching his head saying, guys, I'm on cat. What's happening? 22 for 11 this half so far this game so far for Config. So really good stuff coming out from him. We've spoken about him having to step up. Him, Hetrick, the two players you'd say are the best players in this team. Brolan being consistently so solid, and Config stepped up to the plate, and he might be the single reason as to why the scoreline has as big a disparity as it does.
True, he's had a phenomenal game from start to finish here on Mirage so far. I mean, Hetrick stats slightly inflated from that ace in the round before this one, but can't discount the impact out of that regardless. 15-7. 8 rounds in a row to be won here for Aleppo, to force OT, to win an OT, to take it to overpass. I just don't see a world in which that storyline plays out, I'm afraid. I mean, they should be able to add an 8 to the tally here relatively easily because they'll be playing against pistols. Config's the only real threat here right now.
Surely he rushes lows, right? Either that or catch up. I think lows rush is better.
He's got you. Nobody on the opposite side though, nobody to receive him. By the way, a word on the major semi-final. Gamer Legion have just won the second map 16-14. So that will be going to a decider as Chiron decides he's had enough here in the round. 2 opening kills, blows the door wide open. Config has his support structure cut out from underneath him and essentially renders him useless because you can't shoot while you're moving. And Chiron, well, he could be on for the ace here, mate.
It's always those funny things when you get boosted and your teammate below you dies, and then you're like, wait a second, I'm falling, and then all your accuracy goes out the window. And even though Chiron's on for the ace, Rez is spotted out by Smet, and unfortunately he's not a sort of player to just say he can wait and let that kill go right. He's going to take the kill. 4 kills from Chiron in that round. It was an eco again, even though with that saved rifle from Config, he wasn't able to do much with it. I did like the idea, the thought process coming out from him, but it's another full investment coming out from NiP. In the previous gun round where Hetrick got that ace, he didn't have an AWP. He's got an AWP at the start of this round, so I'm going to go out and say it. I doubt he's going to go out and hide in emo corner since the start of this round, but
no.
you never know. You never know.
That's a safe call there, Nick. No, damn, Nick, I can't believe you're sticking your neck out like that. That should have actually been what I said there. Either way, look at the aggression coming through from Aleppo right now. A couple plays in towards snipers. Nobody plays catch, but Chiron's already looking to phase through the smoking connector here. We've seen him make a number of aggressive plays. He's been the playmaker on this T side, and he's going to go completely undetected because only now is Hetrick starting to check in towards Con. And sure, he's found the kill onto his Fade 8, but no one in their right mind will expect Chiron to be as deep as he is. Question is, how does he want to play this situation? Oh no. That is the worst possible scenario. Nah, he's hating life right now, man.
Or the flash. Oh, the flash was good, but Alexi B's spray was just that little bit better. And unfortunately for Lightning and Smith, they're scratching their heads. They're fighting for their life in this ESL Katowice closed qualifier tournament. If they lose this round, they're out. If they win this round, they have another chance. But unfortunately, it's Lightning left in a 1v5. And unfortunately, Matt, there's no hope. There's no hope.
Yeah. Where there's no thunder, there's no lightning, mate. And this one is done and dusted. Brolan will finish it off. Job completed. NiP way cleaner on the second map, as we expected, considering the fact that it is Mirage. Phenomenal work coming through from them, Nick. I mean, you can't fault them at all on that second map. Inferno was way more touch and go, but a class performance coming through from them on Mirage.
Yeah, and it's about time they rocked up, right? That's all I'm saying. The fact that NiP...